Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law I won't change my 4-month-old daughter's name for her? Okay. I gave birth to my daughter, Ember. Judgment-free zone 4 months ago. My husband and I both loved her name, and that's how it was chosen. Fair enough. Who am I to judge? We announced the day she was born, and nobody said anything negative or gave a reason for us not to use it then. I say this because 3 days ago, my sister-in-law, who is married to my brother... okay. I get how sister-in-laws work, but I appreciate you. Sat me down and asked me to change the name because it's the name of her stillborn daughter she had with her ex-husband 7 years ago. What are the odds of y'all both using the name Ember? That's crazy. Anyway, she told me she tried to keep it quiet, but she couldn't let me keep calling my daughter Ember because it's such a painful reminder for her. She told me she really feels like we should change her name. I gently told sister-in-law that my daughter was 4 months old. Damn, it took her a while to bring this up, huh? And her name is on the birth certificate and it would cost us to change it, so we will not. She told me she tried so hard not to say anything, and the fact she did eventually break and bring this up should show how hard this is for her and to make me more willing to change the name for her sake. I just want to say, I'm still mind blown by the odds here. Yo, Ember. Ember, huh? Not Amber, Ember. Like a flame. You both just happened to come across that name specifically? My mind is blown. How common is the name Ember? I swear if I type on Google and it's like, oh yeah, it's actually super common. I've never met a single person in my life named Ember. And now we have a single story where there's two people within close proximity to each other. Did you know ahead of time? I don't know. I told my husband about it afterward, and he felt the same way I did. He told me it seemed like a weak excuse to wait 4, almost 5 months to tell us, when she had the chance long before this. My brother found out about the conversation with his wife, and he reached out and told me she mentioned it to him 2 months ago, and that she was battling with asking us to change the name since, but he understands why I said no and supports the decision. I don't think you're an asshole. I'm very confused. What a wacky situation for you. The only thing that would make you an asshole here is if you knew that she had a stillborn daughter and she was going to name Ember, and you're like, that would make you an asshole. But I don't know. You both seem to come to the conclusion that you wanted to name your child Ember. I don't know. There's going to be a ton of comments about this one being fake. Yesterday she reached out to me again and asked me if we had decided on a new name yet, and I told her my answer is still no, and she asked why, and I told her she waited 4 months to tell us. She became very angry very quickly and told me if she had lost my niece, my response would be different, and I should see this as her losing my niece because she would have been if she were alive. She would have been if she were... Okay, she also told me my daughter is going to grow up always hearing about the cousin I gave her the same name as, and that I should reconsider before burdening my daughter with that. She told me a good person with good morals would. I should also mention, I knew she suffered a pregnancy loss, but it was implied she had a miscarriage far earlier and not a stillborn child. I never knew the name or sex. Okay, and I never ever heard her use a name for her daughter. I don't think you're an asshole. This is a very strange, very weird situation. Everyone grieves differently and at their own rate. However, 7 years definitely warrants therapy, counseling, and the coping mechanisms, not the asshole. I would agree. She should probably seek help. For the sister-in-law should. Because what the fuck? This is a wild situation. This is an oddly specific one. Look, you are not the asshole for keeping your child's name. Sister-in-law needs therapy, one who is an expert in child loss, but you're mad at her for not telling you sooner. But would that have even changed anything? I bet the answer is no. Not 2 months ago. You know what I mean? 2 months ago? No. Which is when it happened, and that's still 2 months later. Have empathy for her. She lost a child. You may one day be in her shoes. Yeah, I think the consensus is you're still not an asshole. If I had known right away, I've been willing to pick a different name, but it was before it was on the birth certificate, but I'm not willing to change it after 4 months. Is she, unless she pays for it, right? I don't know, man. I'm still blown away that this is a fake name. This is a planted name. You should have put, let's call her Ember. I failed to believe that you found the 2 people on the planet that want to name their kids Ember. Any Embers out there? Actual name. Not usernames or gamer tags. And not XXX Ember Killer XXX. OP, her child was not called Ember. There is no coincidence like that on the planet. She's psychologically damage triggered because you have a baby. That's assuming a lot, but thank you for pointing out how crazy it is. That you just happened to name. It'd be one thing if, like, you know, you named the kid a super common name and those happen to match, you know, like Rebecca or something. Like, oh, I was going to name my child Rebecca, but she was a stillborn or whatever. Then it'd be like, oh, okay, that's a very common name. I understand how this could have potentially happened, but Ember, y'all both just happened to go for the Ember name? I don't know, man. I'm blown away. That's the most I can get from this. Because we can't just say you're an asshole just because you happen to have a sister-in-law that named the kid the same. Like, I don't think that makes you an asshole that, you know, you've already given her the name and you don't want to change it. But, like, what? You're not the asshole for not changing the name. However, your husband and you are the asshole for calling it a week to wait 4 months. You have no idea the internal battle that poor mother was having. Not the asshole, not the asshole. You're the asshole for the spelling alone. Okay, dude. Are you absolutely certain you didn't steal the name from her? Because it's such a completely unusual name. I'm starting a conspiracy here. The audacity of people demanding others to change names. Why is that so? This is like the 3rd story in the past couple weeks I've read about name changing. It's like the next one is going to be like, should I feel bad for not changing my child's name a week afterwards? Because the first one was like, it was a daughter that had the same name for like 18 years. And she didn't want to change her name. Now it's a 4-month-old child. Next, it's going to be an unborn baby. This post makes no sense to me. How did you not know these details about the stillborn baby? You never asked the sex or name? Does your family speak to each other? She said that she thought it was a miscarriage. So then you probably won't hear about this lost baby her whole life unless somebody brings it up. Which would be crazy. Imagine every time they have a conversation with the alive Ember, which sounds messed up to say, but hear me out. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, Ember. Wow, every time I see you, I think of that stillborn child that whoever had. Oh, like, who is initiating conversations like that? That just seems wild to me. Other than the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law for sure at any time is just going to be like... But she's acting like it's going to be something she hears constantly all the time. No, she's just going to have an aunt. You know, she's going to have an aunt out there who cries every time she says her name. Which is messed up. But what a wacky... wacky might not be the best word to use. It's just kind of crazy, the situation that you're in. I'm going to be real with you. It's kind of blowing my mind. It really is. She sounds ridiculous. I'm not belittling true grief. I almost said grift. This whole thing is ridiculous. True, it does seem suspicious. Names are not single use. Her position is ludicrous. You are not the asshole. Don't change the name. Why did you do it like this? Changing the name at 4 months old will be a major thing to do. I was kind of hoping for like maybe some deep thoughts on the fact that they both came to the conclusion of Ember. Your sister-in-law handled it appropriately? Potentially, but you're not the asshole? What's up with your brother? Didn't he know about the stillborn baby? Obviously not. Sister-in-law is finding this extremely painful and triggering, and you have to decide whether you love the name more than you love your relationship with your sister-in-law. Wouldn't it be sister-in-law destroying a family relationship over a name? I don't think you're an asshole, man. I think you're in a very oddly specific situation. That's like such a wild coincidence. You both happen to go for this pretty unique name. It just seems kind of crazy. But this is a throwaway account. So, you know, what other reason do you have to post this? It's kind of crazy, is it not?